Hello friends and welcome back to the channel. Whether you're going abroad just for the bank holiday or regularly travel abroad for business or pleasure, I'm going to be showing you how to keep using your mobile phone whilst roaming using your UK mobile plan. I will walk you through the setup process and highlight some of the pitfalls you need to be aware of. Now let's start by looking at what mobile roaming is. Well, in simple terms, it refers to using your phone to connect to a network outside of your home network, and in this case, abroad outside of the UK. If you have roaming enabled on your mobile plan and travel outside of the UK, your phone will attempt to connect to a foreign mobile network. If this is successful, the name of the foreign mobile network will usually appear on your mobile phone instead of your UK carrier's name. If you have data roaming available, you may also see the 4G, 5G, etc. prompt appear. On some phones, a triangle icon or the letter R may also appear, indicating that you are now connected to a network outside of your usual network provider's area. If you wish to use your UK home mobile plan whilst roaming, you need to check the following items. Firstly, ensure that you have mobile roaming enabled with your network provider. This is increasingly set to be enabled by default when you sign up, but it's always worth checking. Roaming can typically be enabled through an app, via your account on the website, by sending a text message to your mobile provider, or by calling them directly. You might have the option to only allow EU roaming or worldwide roaming. Check with your network provider to see if roaming is available in the country that you are visiting. The major UK network providers now have extensive roaming agreements with most countries worldwide. Now, this is one of the most important aspects. Check the costs of using your mobile phone abroad in the country you are traveling to with your network provider, and ensure you understand these and are happy with them. Previously, roaming abroad was only available to pay monthly customers. However, it is now also accessible to pay-as-you-go plans with some providers. You may have the option of purchasing a roaming pass, which allows you to use your UK calling plan whilst you're away. There have been various marketing terms for this over the years, such as data passport, bolt-on, roaming extra, for example. These usually allow you to call back to the UK, receive calls when abroad, as well as send and receive text messages as part of your UK plan's inclusive allowances. Data might also be included in the roaming pass, but this could have a fair use cap on daily or monthly usage. Exceeding the fair use limit could cost you dearly. If you are a pay monthly subscriber with EE, for instance, roaming in Ireland incurs no extra cost. This means that there are no additional roaming pass charges, calls to the UK and Ireland are included, and a generous 50 GB fair use data policy is provided, should you already have these on your home mobile plan. This surpasses any local or global SIM offer, as it incurs no additional cost beyond your usual home mobile plan, making roaming with your home plan the preferable option in this particular case. Unfortunately, roaming in the wider EU is no longer free with most UK mobile networks. For the UAE, for example, you can purchase a daily or weekly pass with EE that allows you to use your inclusive minutes. These usually cover calls back to the UK and locally in the country that you are roaming in. Following Brexit, it is unlikely that it will cover calls to the entire EU if you are roaming in the EU. However, in some countries, such as Azerbaijan, you might still be able to purchase a roaming pass, although it offers very poor value. In this case, you would be better off buying a local SIM, which I will cover in another video. Vodafone, on the other hand, states that it's free to receive calls and only charges when you use data, make a call or send a text message. In this scenario, you could keep your Vodafone roaming activated to receive calls abroad and use a second SIM for data and making calls, providing your phone supports it and you set it up correctly. You may receive a text message from your UK mobile network provider upon arriving abroad, indicating the charges for using your phone in the country you are visiting. You might be offered the option to purchase an add-on. For example, EE will present you with this choice when you arrive abroad. Please note that this text message could be delayed, sometimes by several hours. Other networks, for example Vodafone, may impose a daily charge for use of the inclusive minutes and data, which could begin as soon as you connect to the foreign network if you have data roaming turned on. You must exercise caution if you are planning to be on an airplane or possibly a ship that offers in-flight calling. Your mobile phone may connect to a mobile network on board, such as the Aero mobile network, and any calls and data through this often incur staggering charges. This is because these calls will likely be routed through an expensive satellite system. For example, with EE, it's £15 for a mere 10 megabytes of data for 24 hours, and £3.35 per minute to make or receive a call whilst on a ship. It is advisable to switch your phone to flight mode during any flight or whilst on a ship, or to turn off your SIM completely on your phone. The same warning applies if you're in a country where a reasonable roaming plan is not available. You can also turn off data roaming, but remember this will not disable outgoing or incoming calls. If you're certain you will not use roaming, you can disable the SIM in your phone, as I have mentioned previously. On an iPhone, you can do this through the mobile service menu. If you have a physical SIM, you can remove it. If you have an eSIM, you should not need to delete it completely. Simply temporarily disable it, as I mentioned previously. However, remembering that turning your SIM off completely may affect how you use other apps, for example those that use two-factor mobile authentication, which you may have set up with your UK mobile number. Check that the spending cap is high enough to cover any roaming charges. Some providers may not include the cost of any roaming pass in the spending cap. Your provider may already have a default spending cap, but it could be substantial, for example set at £250 or above. This means you can accumulate high bills on calls, texts and data used abroad. Set the cap to the minimum amount you require to pay for any roaming pass. Ensure your device is set to connect to networks automatically. This is typically the default setting anyway. In the past, you could incur different charges depending on which network you connected to whilst abroad, but this is unlikely to be the case nowadays. Before we move on to roaming partner networks, I would like to ask you all a favour. If you're finding this video useful, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. I have many more updates planned, and it really helps the video reach a wider audience. Your home network may indicate which roaming partner networks you can use abroad, along with their coverage and speeds. You can increasingly access 4G and even 5G roaming. However, I have visited places where 5G is unavailable to roaming users, being accessible only to those with a local SIM. I have experienced network coverage restricted, in one case to only Edge, which is a 2G network. Data download speeds might also be limited. Voice quality may be reduced to that of an old AM radio signal. Unfortunately, there is no way to know this for sure until you arrive at your destination and connect. However, one advantage of using roaming instead of a local SIM is that it may allow you to bypass local censorship or restrictions. For example, WhatsApp video and audio calling are blocked in many Middle Eastern countries. Nevertheless, using my EE calling plan whilst roaming enabled me to overcome all of these restrictions, as well as any website censorship, without needing to use any additional software such as a VPN. It really just felt as if I was using my mobile in the UK. Visual voicemail appeared to function as expected. In the UK, I rarely use video calling. However, when abroad, I made extensive use of it to call family back home. One significant advantage of mobile roaming with your home plan is that you retain your UK number whilst travelling. Your friends and family can stay in touch with you using your usual UK number. All the apps on your phone that require your UK number should function as usual. In fact, when I was roaming with EE, my phone seemed to keep a UK IP address. Most roaming plans are designed for short-term use. Your plan provider may impose restrictions if you stay abroad for extended periods. For instance, Vodafone does not allow you to spend more time abroad than at home over a 4-month period before adding extra charges. Turn off Wi-Fi calling. Although it may be possible to use Wi-Fi calling abroad, the terms and conditions of your mobile plan usually don't permit this. Furthermore, your network may classify Wi-Fi calls as international calls. For example, if you are abroad and wish to call a local number, your provider may designate this as an international call from the UK and charge accordingly. It can also affect emergency calls, as you would likely be routed to emergency services in the UK. So that's an overview of how to get ready for roaming abroad using your home plan. You will have to determine the cost of doing so with your network provider and then decide whether these charges are acceptable for you for your particular destination. I will be exploring the use of a local SIM, a global SIM, and possibly a combination of these in an upcoming video shortly. If you have any other tips that you can share with us about roaming using your home network abroad, or have any problems that you've encountered whilst doing so, please let us know in the comments below. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you all in the next video.